And I want to share that we are here today for the Source Lunch Fun session. These were a set of talks that I was really excited about that just would work for a generalized audience. So we want to let you know that there will be an award ceremony for outstanding oral presentations for Source. The awards will be on Thursday, June 2nd in the Cirque Ballroom. And you are welcome to join us. There'll be good desserts as well as awards for those that have participated. We also need to let you know that we are Zooming, which is allowing our presenter here to present today. And so these are being live streamed through Zoom so that students, faculty, and staff at all of our campuses and online can attend. What that means is when we present, we ask if anyone asks a question, we're going to try to make sure it's on the mic, or we're going to ask the presenter to repeat the question. With that, I am very excited to start and introduce our first speaker. Our first speaker is Tanisha Roman. Tanisha is going to be presenting about Joanna Cargill and Amanda Waller, a critical Black feminist analysis. Take it away.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for that introduction. My name is Tanisha Roman, and like mentioned, I will be presenting on Joanna Cargill and Amanda Waller, a critical Black feminist analysis. This interdisciplinary project was created with Rebecca Lubas, who is the the Dean of Libraries, and Dr. Natashia Lindsey from Africana and Black Studies. I want to acknowledge that I am on the land of the Coast Salish people, whose ancestors resided here since time immemorial. Many Indigenous people thrive in this place, alive and strong. This is the creator of Amanda Waller. And these are his words when asked about her character. I'll just read a little bit. As conceived, Waller was a middle-aged Black heavyset on the short side and with no superpowers, just an iron will and a terminal bad attitude. I've always said that some aspect of the characters we write exist within us. It's been pointed out to me that would mean that I am an angry, middle-aged Black woman inside me that I have, Maybe I'm channeling Tyler Perry. There have been numerous studies around the successfulness of using comic books to engage and motivate readers in library programming and education. However, nothing specifically on using Black female characters. The goal of this research was to research the intersection of these two areas. These are a few of the questions I'll be asking that I asked, in my research. How are Black female characters represented in comic books? How can Black female representation in comics engage and motivate new readers? And my hypothesis was using Black female comic book characters, a programming product centered around reader engagement can be developed, such as a library book display, a book club, a reader advisory, or a digital display. My research design and methods were split into two phases: an in-depth character and story analysis of Marvel and DC Comics, using a Black feminist lens to examine Black female representation. I read 100 comic books, 50 for each character, and I read each comic book 3 times. This was followed by a literary review of the scholarship surrounding implementing comics or graphic novels into library programming. These are a few of the tenets, Black feminist tenets that I use: interlocking oppression. In this tenet, it's saying that intersectionality argument claims that Black women's bodies are simultaneously marked by racial, gender, sexual, color, historical class, and other stigmas. These are stigmatized identities, and subsequent oppressions are not based on hierarchy. They are not additive. They are, in fact, intersectional. Standpoint epistemology. This tenet is saying that those who understand the phenomenal under the exploration are in the best position to evaluate and make claims about the meanings of it. And lastly, dialectical images in the US. Images of Black women instead are shown as strong, asexual, castrating, hypersexual criminal instead of the images that you would see that are from the dominant perspective, which casts women as passive, nurturing, and relationship-oriented. These are a few of the types of information that I gathered while analyzing the comic books. So I was looking at authors' gender and race, language patterns, appearance, story problems, how much narrative space, that was a big one, and stereotypes. Literature review, this project was mostly a literature review, basically, but there were two main things that kept repeating in the library literature, and that was comics and graphic novels are being used a great deal in public and school library book clubs. And two motivating factors tied into active engagement in literary practices were ownership and pleasure. Let's get into the results, starting with how much narrative space each character had. So Amanda Waller, 19%, and this was out of 1,236 pages. Well, all the pages in the 50 comic books, she had 19% visual space. And for textual, she had 20%, a little over 20%. And Joanna Cargill, her total amount of space was out of 1,256 pages. She had 14.25% visual and less for textual space. Here's a timeline of images for Amanda Waller. Over the years, she's transformed a bit, and underneath, I put some of the common stereotypes that were found in a lot of the images. Same thing for Joanna Cargill timeline. A lot of the same stereotypes. And this one actually was a little tongue-in-cheek because I was reading all this in hopes that I would find something good to work with. And finally, I found a couple comics that weren't rifled with stereotypes. In conclusion, while there is research on the representation of Black female characters in comic books, and research on how to use comic books in library programming, I found that there was a gap in research that addresses how these problematic characters might affect new readers and whether they should be used in library programming. My second finding was using a Black feminist analysis revealed that none of the 100 comic books should be promoted in library programming without a critical framing. In the future, I am going to create a LibGuide for the Brooks Library that will provide criteria to evaluate comic books if you want to use them, to prevent you from selecting problematic comic books, And I will also provide a recommendation list for, with unproblematic comic books, which won't be limited to just these two characters, which makes that a lot more fun. I would love to do this project, but instead of looking at Marvel or DC, maybe look at some of the independent comics to see how that fits. Lots of references. Of course, I would love to thank the McNair Project, my mentors, Rebecca and Dr. Natashia, and of course, the library. Thank you.
Thank you so much to our speaker. Can we please have a round of applause? I see in the comments that some comments from people outside the room that I can't get to. So our first question was, what did you find most surprising about your research?
Well, I guess, so this is my first big research project, and you have hopes and dreams of what you think you'll find and what you hope to find. And so I think the biggest, eye opener for research in general is that doesn't necessarily, that's before research, but when you actually do it, that you may not get any of those things. And so I was very much disappointed that I didn't find more stuff to work with. So that was a little disappointing.
Okay. Do we have questions or compliments from the audience or anyone on Zoom? We have a compliment of great job. We have a question over here.
Thank you. Thanks, Lindsey.
Hi, thank you so much for a great talk. I found particularly effective how you put the images of the Black female comic heroes in a row. That's just astounding, just visual row of that. And my question was, I think you perfectly define how stereotypical and discriminatory those images are. And one thing that struck me, I'm not familiar with the comics, unfortunately, is that the earlier image also looked incredibly masculine to me. Mm-hmm. Is this on purpose?
I think so. I definitely think so. I definitely could have put that on there. One thing that I tried to pay attention to while I was researching were the differences between non-Black female characters and how they were, yes, I think comics in general, there's a lot of stereotyping for men and women. And so you've seen some of the same stereotypes for non-Black females. However, when it came to Black females, it was very consistent with how they were drawn and how some of even their skill sets and their powers were related to more masculine type of powers. So definitely, I definitely think it was on purpose. Obviously, I just analyzed 100 comics, and to give you an idea, Amanda Waller has maybe 900 comics that she's been in, so quite a huge number. But yeah, that's definitely something that I noticed.
Juan followed up with, what are your thoughts on heroes such as Storm and Vixen?
What was the second one? Storm and who?
Vixen.
Vixen. Oh, yeah, I think because they are, one of the things that I was reading in the literature, because there's been lots of research on just representation, and it seemed to be split between African supermodels and African American or Black women supermodels. And I think you can find some similarities in some of the stereotypes in African women. I mean, I like them as characters. I didn't actually do a ton of research on them. I think that there are some of the characters that have been researched a lot. And so I tried to also pick people that I wasn't extremely familiar with as far as like reading their comics.
That's perfect. That addresses Juan's other question. So to respect the time of our next speaker, I'm going to go ahead and stop now, but can we please say thank you to the awesome speaker once again? I hope you can hear that, Tanisha. Thank you. All right. I am going to hand it off to our moderator, and Tanisha, you should check in the chat. There's more compliments there. Our moderator is going to introduce the next speaker.
Hello, everyone. Our next speaker is Kiley Radovich, Ethical Curation of Human Skeletal Remains at CWU. Kiley, welcome.
Sure. Yes. Late Thursday or late
Thursday.
That looks like
The third one down.
let's see if I can click on the right thing. Ooh, I'm so excited. Okay, we need to make sure that they can see it on Zoom. So let's go over here. Let's make it big. And thank you for your patience. We're going to share some screen, share this, share that. And I find everything's best with sound effects. That look great?
Looks perfect. All right. Should I sit here or stand or whatever?
You can move. If you move, you can use this
Okay.
to zoom. And then if you do move, you got to take that with you.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Hello, all. My name is Kiley Radovich. I'm a graduating senior here at Central Washington, majoring in anthropology with a focus in forensics and archaeology. For the past year and a half, I've had the unique and fulfilling opportunity to work alongside Dr. Jastremski with a number of commingled skeletal remains that are in the possession of the Anthropology Museum Studies Department here. This is a quote from an American historian, Thomas Laqueur, that I think really describes my work that I've done. It reads, "To treat the dead body as if it does not matter, or if it were ordinary organic matter, would be to deny its humanity." So the goal of my research with these skeletal remains was to create a comprehensive inventory and biological profile for the purpose of knowledge and safekeeping, all while keeping ethics in mind. With my work, I am assuring that the human skeletal remains at CWU have an established safe and ethical keeping and continue to be kept and work with in that manner. First and foremost, I want to handle these remains with care as they once belonged to a living person and should be treated with the respect that they deserve. These bones will be continued to work for educational purposes for many years to come. So it is important to establish this ethical keeping so future academics can continue to learn from them while maintaining the dignity that they deserve. So as I previously mentioned, Central Washington University, the Anthropology Museum Studies Department houses a number of commingled skeletal remains from an unknown number of individuals. Sorry. They're housed in the forensics lab in Dean Hall, which is where I did the majority of my work. These remains are from an unknown number of individuals and total to almost over 300 bones. They're used for educational purposes and handled on almost a daily basis by students, so it is vital that a comprehensive catalog is kept of them. So I started my work by cataloging each individual bones, which, like I mentioned, total to almost over 300. And I assigned each of those bones a number and wrote that number on the bones. This is vital in case a bone gets misplaced because, like I said, they're handled on almost a daily basis by students. And so they're easily traceable back to the forensics lab. I cataloged all of this in a comprehensive Excel spreadsheet that will be kept and saved for future use. When creating my catalog, I also noted any identifiable features on the bones and measured as applicable. I also rated their level of completeness in accordance with standard protocols. This photo in the with all that text is kind of how you rate level of completeness of bones. I also measured the bones as needed, which includes the skull, long bones, the pelvic bones. Next, I constructed a biological profile of the skeletal remains as applicable. A biological profile consists of a sex estimation, an age estimation, a stature estimation, and an ancestry estimation. For my purposes, I only did a sex and age estimation. The bones used in these estimations are the skull and the pelvic bone, which we refer to as innominates. There are two skulls that are in possession of the commingled remains. Both of them are probable males with an age of 33 to 44 with a mean age of 39. There are 9 pelvic bones, like individual pelvic bones. I used more than one process to determine the sex and aging. The first one was 3 male, 2 female, and 3 ambiguous. The second was 3 male, 5 female, and 1 undetermined. And they had an age range of 25 to 60 plus years old. These are some examples of the features and processes that I used. This top one is on the pelvic bone, and then that's also the pelvic bone, and the middle one is the pelvic bone, and then that far one is sexing estimation for the skull. So over the past few years, a lot of controversy has arisen with the ethics of keeping human remains. In 1996, the Society for American Archaeology conducted 9 core principles for archaeological ethics, which I applied to my work. Those core principles are, stewardship, accountability, commercialization, public education and outreach, intellectual property, public reporting and publication, records and preservation, training and resources, and finally, safe educational and workplace environments. I kept these core ethics in mind while I conducted my research because all of these things are very vital, and these bones belong to human people, living human people, and so it's really essential that they're treated with respect and with dignity, and that they continue to be used with respect and dignity. Like I said, they are used on almost a daily basis for teaching purposes. If any of you have ever taken the skeletal analysis class, that's the class that they're used for. And really, they need to be kept in such a comprehensive way and cataloged in a comprehensive way so that they are continued to be kept in an ethical way. I am really thankful that I was granted this opportunity that not a lot of people have, and that I was the one who helped ensure that these bones will be kept in a safe and ethical way for years to come. Thank you. And those are my sources. Questions?
Getting it to you.
Back on the page with the ages and sexes of the bones, you have the Shushberry Brook and Buckberry. What is that?
I didn't put the ages because, like I said, there's 9 individual pelvic bones, and that would have been very long, but I used 2 different sources to do an age estimation.
Any other questions?
Is there like a particular group of people that most of the bones are from? Because I know that like sometimes like in museums, like Native Americans tend to have more bones and stuff displayed, and I know that's seen as like unethical in a lot of times.
Which is the Native American Graves and Curation Act. And so we ensure that none of our bones belong to Native American ancestry. And those bones are repatriated as we are. So we do have things called bone boxes.
We do have 7 bone boxes, which are complete skeletons, and we know that those boxes were ethically sourced from India. But as for the combing of the rings that I was working with, it is unknown the ancestry because ancestry can really only be determined by the skull, and we only have 2 skulls.
Any other questions? Well, thank you so much, everyone. Let's give another round of applause for Kiley. Great job. Thank you. And so we still have 5 minutes before the next presenter. So we just take a little break until 12:30. And if the next presenter is here, you can just set up.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Here. Theater, yeah.
Great. Right, I'm gonna go make sure that it looks right over there. Is that it? You would think we'd be better at Zoom, having like lived on Zoom.
Also, I will be playing a video. I don't know if that will mess up screen sharing. We'll have to unshare and then, or could I just click on the video and prepare it?
Yeah, let's just double check.
Perfect.
I'm gonna do that and
Because it will take us to YouTube, and that's why I don't know if it will continue.
yeah. Do you wanna?
Yes. It's right here, and then should just control click.
Are you open? Oh, I think I tried to open it in like Explorer or something. Why? Well, I'm glad we tried. Oh wait, browse YouTube.
All my life, I've known that I wanted to help kids.
So I can just like stop sharing and go to the YouTube page.
Yeah, and I think I just set it up so that sharing. Yeah.
Oh, that it will share no matter what screen I
Yeah,
go to.
that was what I was trying.
Perfect. Thank you. Yes, I don't know how to do that. I don't have any presenters notes. I have them all right here, but
Does that work?
yeah,
And I'm gonna take a look at you.
right here. Okay. Cool. Another minute. Okay. I had so much fun, and we're still working on it. So it's been a whole lot of fun.
All right, welcome everyone to the last session of the Source Lunch Fun. It is my pleasure to present Kira Cox for Drama Therapy, Theater for Young Audiences and How They Can Help Youth Process Trauma from Theater Arts Department. Welcome, Kira, take us away.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Kira Cox. I use she, her, hers pronouns. I am a fourth year theater studies major, and I am presenting on drama therapy, theater for young audiences, and how they can help youth process trauma. So I'd first like to touch on the scope of my project. My scope touches three main pillars. First, drama therapy practices and how they can help youth processing trauma. The use of theater for young audiences as a tool to discuss difficult topics. And then when we're talking about trauma throughout the process, we're specifically talking about single event traumatic experiences. Also something I didn't note on the slide, but is a large part of my project, is that I am gearing my research towards youth between the ages of 10 to 14. To start, I'd like to offer into space this quote from the North American Drama Therapy Association that helps define what drama therapy is. Drama therapy is the intentional use of drama and/or theater practices to help achieve therapeutic goals. This gives us some really great keywords to focus on throughout the presentation. The first one is this concept of therapeutic goals. So when you begin meetings with a drama therapist, the first initial meeting is for the drama therapist to get to know you, get to know a little bit about things that you may want to work on in therapy and create goals to work on throughout these practices. This next thing that it gives is the word intentional. The intentional is very important because each practice that you use in drama therapy is specifically geared towards achieving that therapeutic goal. And everything that is done in drama therapy is done by professionals who have spent years researching how to apply these methods. The process of drama therapy helps us achieve this concept called mentalization. Mentalization is when we are able to separate ourselves from the emotions associated with an experience so that we are better able to understand not only the experience that we have gone through, but also the emotions that we have connected to the event. I've listed a long list of different drama therapy practices that help us achieve mentalization. But it really comes down to working on building empathy so that you can approach your own experiences with empathy. Next concept is theater for young audiences. Theater for young audiences is theater that is geared towards a young audience. These young audiences can be as young as toddlers or as old as early adolescents. I plan to use theater for young audiences as a way to introduce concepts of drama therapy to a young audience, youth aged 10 to 14, and parents, guardians, caretakers who might be hesitant about the concept of drama therapy. I also would like to clarify how theater for young audiences is different from drama therapy. Theater for young audiences is theater that is for young audiences, whereas drama therapy is specifically meant to achieve therapeutic goals. There are specific goals that you are trying to achieve in drama therapy, whereas when we are creating theater for young audiences, we are creating art, we are having fun, we are letting kids just create. There's no particular goals behind it. So I decided that I wanted to write a play where youth felt seen in their experiences. So I drew inspiration from a few other TYA plays. These plays are particularly Doors by Susan Zatter, The Yellow Boat by David Saar,
and Arkansas Bear by Arond Harris. After reading these plays, I began to write my own. The Drama Therapist is a play about a drama therapist, Dr. Skylar Carringer, who goes to work in a middle school and gets to work with students. And there's a little bit of pushback from the parents, and we get to see how Dr. Skylar works through that hesitation. Throughout the play, we see examples of drama therapy and its uses, as well as issues that are affecting youth today, like death of a family member, getting arrested, the pressure of needing to help raise a younger sibling, defunding arts and education, and healthy and unhealthy communication styles with parents. So today I've provided a short little preview of the play. We're going to watch a video that is kind of a collection of 4 different monologues that we see in the play. As I pull this up, the 4 characters that we see in this video are Dr. Skylar Carringer, who is our drama therapist character, played by Brad Alameo. Then we also have Jessie Michelson, who is a 7th grade student at the middle school, who is recently processing the death of her grandmother. Jessie Michelson is played by Serena Orengo. Then we have Kayla Paris, who is a 16-year-old high school student who is working to help raise her younger brother because of how busy their parents are. There's also Caleb Paris, who is a 12-year-old 7th grade student at the middle school, and he has recently gotten arrested for lighting a fire in a small field. So those are some examples of the characters you will see. I'll go ahead and press play.
I don't know if I believe in fate or destiny, but if it exists, then mine is to help kids who are going through difficult times.
I remember what I was doing at 9:15 this morning. I was in my theater class and we were talking about improvisation. You know, I think I want to be a professional improvisationist? Improvisationer. A comedian. Everyone thinks that I don't know what I'm doing is wrong, but I know that. Just when Kayla or my dad tells me I shouldn't do something, it makes me want to do it more. Kayla thinks she's a good sister, but she wants to act like a parent.
I've always been the stereotypical protective older sister. Caleb was born a couple weeks after my 4th birthday, and I remember people referring to him as a pretty amazing birthday gift. I love my brother. I love him a lot, but to phrase it as a gift seems like a stretch.
Grandma used to say I was real funny, but not like in a you should be a comedian or improvisationer way, but more like when I did something bad, she would say, "You think you're real funny, don't you?" I don't think Grandma liked funny things. She liked the news. The news isn't very funny.
He's doing better. I know he is, but every day I'm afraid he's going to do something worse and get into some real trouble, or he's going to keep doing this when he's older and have to do time in prison. I know he's older now, but when I look at him, I still see the 6-year-old who came home from school crying because another kid beat him up.
I just wish she'd forget I exist. Maybe then I won't have to hear several times a day about how I messed up and got arrested. She thinks about all the things she should do better so that I don't mess up again. But it's not her job to keep me out of trouble. It's so scary, but when Grandma's there, she makes the world make sense. So that it doesn't feel scary anymore. Like when I had surgery last year. Grandma sat in the hospital room with me and told me it was going to be okay. She explained that with anesthesia, you take a few deep breaths, and then the next thing you remember is waking up.
I want to be there for him. I want to protect him. I just don't know if I can. So I bring him a lunch when he forgets, and I try to talk to him when he and his dumb friends do dumb stuff. But it doesn't help.
Being reminded of the mistakes I made every day makes me feel like I will never be more than my mistakes. And if I'll never be more than my mistakes, then what's stopping me from making them again?
when he gets in serious trouble, at least I can say I did everything to be a good sister.
So, at 9:15 this morning, while I was doing improvisation, my grandma took her last breath. She's not going to be with me when I have my surgery in September, or watch the news, or see me in an improvisation show. On second thought, I don't think I really like improvisation.
I have always known that I wanted to help children going through difficult times. And with your help and support, I can do that.
So if you enjoyed that little clip and you would like to see more, we are doing a staged reading of our production happening on May 31st at 7 p.m. in the Cirque Theater. Please come out and enjoy. Several of our cast members are in the audience right now. Thank you all for coming. So why does this matter? Why should we study drama therapy? Why don't we stick to traditional methods of cognitive behavioral therapy or talk therapy? So creating ways for mental health treatments to reach wider audiences allows it to be more accessible. There are people who drama therapy might seem more appealing than traditional talk therapy. Also, drama therapy uses tools that gets people talking in ways that maybe traditional therapy might not. And also having a play that families can watch together and talk about afterwards opens up both children and adults to having conversations about important topics like the ones that we see in the play. So that's all I have for my presentation today. I could talk about this so much longer, but I only have a short amount of time to talk today. So if you would like more information, including my artist statement on the piece, an annotated bibliography, a copy of the script, or if you just have questions and you would like more information, please email me at kira.cox@cwu.edu. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Kira. What a great presentation. Questions? Just here we go. Raise your hand, think of a question, don't be shy.
Yeah, I was just wanting to ask, like, what made you decide to do this specific subject rather than like something else?
Yeah, so actually what inspired me to work on the piece is I've always been kind of interested in theater for young audiences. It's something I participated in when I was a kid. It's something that I help teach summer camps now. So I took a theater for young audiences class here, and when working in that class, I actually wrote one of the monologues that you'll see in the play, Jessie's monologue about her grandmother. I wrote that after reading The Yellow Boat and Arkansas Bear, and I decided to write my own monologue about my experiences as a 20-year-old woman thinking about what I think about with my grandma's death through the lens of 12-year-old Kira finding out about her grandmother's death. And that's really what started my interest in the project. And throughout the class, my professor at the time, Catherine Stahl, encouraged me to look into drama therapy. She thought it might be something of interest to me. And so when I was thinking about what I wanted to do for my senior research project, I knew that drama therapy, theater for young audiences, and how it can help with processing traumatic experiences was the perfect topic for me.
Questions? More questions? Go for it.
When you say theater for young audiences, do you mean that it would be performed by young audiences for young audiences, or would it be performed by a company that's like touring with it?
Yeah, thank you for that question. I honestly both. It could be something that is performed in high schools, middle schools, even elementary schools, or it could be something that a touring company performs as a way to educate audiences about drama therapy.
Any more questions? Well, let's give Kira a round of applause. Thank you so much. What a great presentation. Thank you everyone for coming to Source Fun Lunch.